Good Wednesday morning, and thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Dusty Sonnenberg. Well, cloudy skies and windy outside right now. 23 degrees on the barn thermometer, but it feels more like 12 with that wind chill. It's supposed to be a blustery December day with a chance for snow showers moving in later on. This quick calendar reminder, the 2024 Ohio No-Till Conference takes place today at Der Dutchman Restaurant in Plain City. The program begins at 9 a.m. with educational sessions. Of course, the awards handed out at noon during the lunch hour, and the day's educational sessions end at 4 o'clock p.m. Certified Crop Advisor credits are available, and registration is available at the door as well. For more information, visit OhioNo-TillCouncil.com. Let's check in now with Chad Smith as he shares some tips on keeping cattle in top shape.
Cold weather creates ideal conditions for external parasites to ramp up their troublesome activity on dairy operations. To combat discomfort, hair loss, reduced efficiency, and overall herd performance challenges, Dr. Jennifer Roberts, a professional services veterinarian with Boehringer Ingelheim, shares practical tips for keeping your cows in top shape.
So as we move into the winter season, the key external parasites that dairy producers really need to be on the lookout for are lice and mange mites. Lice that we worry about, there's biting lice and sucking lice. So the biting lice tend to feed on debris, skin, hair, and secretions that are on the skin surface, whereas those sucking lice can attach to the cow and actually feed on blood. The mange mites typically will live around the tail head and the hindquarters. The one that we'll see most often, particularly in dairy cattle, is coreoptic mange. And we also see sarcoptic mange that can be a bit more severe, but it's far less common than coreoptic.
She talks about which external parasites dairy producers should keep in mind this season.
Lice and mange can really impact the bottom line. When we look at cow comfort and how these external parasites can really impact the comfort of that animal because they cause such intense itching, it can directly impact milk production, animal immunity, and overall production within a herd. Because when these cows are so uncomfortable, they're not going to be spending as much time lying down, ruminating, and making milk.
How do producers go about monitoring for external parasites?
Monitoring for external parasites usually includes looking for external signs, but we may not always see those. If there are external clinical signs that are visible, we may see a rough hair coat, we may see a reduction in milk yield, and those cows may exhibit some scratching or rubbing on posts or gates or other areas of the environment, and so we may see some patchy hair loss. Waiting for the external parasites to show clinical signs, that is usually too late. Really what we want to do is try to apply appropriate antiparasitics prior to the onset of clinical signs.
She talks about some of the best practices in creating a parasite control plan.
Some farms will prefer to treat the whole herd once a year, while some will treat animals at certain stages of production, such as dry off or freshening. Since our parasite populations will often peak in January and February, timing the product application in the fall, in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, is going to be ideal, because then we're applying those antiparasitics prior to the external parasite infestation becoming so severe that we're seeing clinical signs. But really, it's important to consult with the herd veterinarian to determine the best approach for each herd. You know, if we're going to spend money on a pour-on dewormer, we really want to get the most out of our money. We want to get that return on investment. And so paying attention to how the product is administered is really going to be key.
She also says to secure the animals in a headlock or chute, use their weight to calculate the proper dosage, and apply the product with an applicator gun along the midline. Again, Dr. Jennifer Roberts is with Boehringer Ingelheim. Chad Smith reporting.
Thanks, Chad. Let's take a look now at your Wednesday weather forecast, brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance, online at seedconsultants.com.
Cold air continues to dominate our forecast over the next couple of weeks, but I tell you what, it's not going to be just parking and staying here. Back and forth A lot of variability in our forecasts. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that Ohio Ag weather outlook. Here's what's going on. We're not seeing much happen here for your Wednesday. We've got a Clipper system that wants to come through overnight tonight into tomorrow. That's going to really impact the lake areas a lot. Lake effect can be strong, but I think most of the rest of us just see clouds overnight tonight through probably mid-morning tomorrow. Maybe some odd flurries here and there. Quick dusting. Not a big deal, and we're done. High pressure then dominates for the rest of your Thursday and into early Friday. We're chilly. Temperatures moderate over the weekend, and then our pattern gets real interesting. Warm air in for Sunday and Monday. Overnight Sunday night, Monday, rain. That's right, anywhere from a quarter to 1 inch of rain. We take a break for next Tuesday, then rain is back on Wednesday. Behind that, cold air comes in for Thursday and Friday before we moderate temperatures again for the following weekend, and rain starts the week of the 16th. So we've got a very active pattern here in Ohio from now through just past mid-month. I think combined we could see anywhere from 1 to maybe 2.5 inches of rain if we get the max of every system that comes through. That's a look at your forecast update. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more after this.
Since 1926, Nationwide has been rooted in agriculture. Founded as the Farm Bureau Mutual Automobile Insurance Company with a mission to protect farmers and their communities, we honor our legacy by offering solutions that evolve with the complex needs of today's farms. As the leading insurer of America's farms and trusted by 8 farm bureaus for 100 years and counting, Nationwide is on your side. Number 1 insurer based on 2023 direct written premium per AM Best. Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
Did you know that soybean meal is the number 1 protein source used in aquaculture worldwide? Global fish consumption has nearly doubled in the last 40 years, making aquaculture the fastest growing sector of food production. Rich in protein content and highly digestible, soybean meal is an environmentally sound solution to feed the growing global demand for nutritious seafood. Soybeans, feeding the industry that feeds us. Brought to you by Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff. Well, everyone knows trade's an important part in determining our market prices, and the USDA has a new forecast for what agricultural trade may look like in 2025. USDA's Gary Crawford has the story.
USDA is out now with its new ag trade forecast for the 2025 fiscal year.
It's kind of a continuation of some of the short-term trends we've been seeing over the last couple years.
USDA's chief economist Seth Meyers' description of the new forecast, which is projecting 2025 U.S. ag exports at $170 billion, down from this past year by just under 4.5. Seth Meyers says, of course, he's not happy about that forecast. He's not surprised by it either.
U.S. export value has been falling since 2022. But of course, part of that is because commodity prices were peaking out in 22, right? So again, here, exports falling in this situation isn't necessarily a surprise, perhaps, as commodity prices continue to moderate.
At least for most of the so-called bulk commodities such as corn, soybeans, and cotton.
You know, we depend a lot on bulk commodity exports for the fortunes of our ag trade. And right now we're facing a lot of competition,
with many other producing countries having good harvests and ample supplies as well. But the export news for the U.S. is not all bad. Seth Meyers says while sales of most bulk commodities are struggling, exports of high-value products are expected to be on the rise, especially livestock products.
For livestock, poultry, dairy exports, they're forecast $700 million higher. And that gets us to a total of $39.3 billion. And you got increases basically across the board. Beef exports, $400 million increase to $8.8 billion. And you got higher volumes are offsetting some of those lower unit values. So a little bit of easing of price more than offset by some growth in volume. And that's a good thing. You know, we do a fair amount of business, high value business in beef exports. So we get a little bit of a trim in price and have some volume increases. Again, a bit of a different fortune for livestock as exports go up $700 million in livestock, poultry, and dairy.
So those are the basic trends projected for U.S. ag exports, down from 2024. Meanwhile, U.S. ag product imports are projected up by over $9 billion,
leading to a widening of the trade deficit into fiscal year 25.
USDA projecting a trade deficit of $45.5 billion. Gary Crawford reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Thanks, Gary. Let's check in now with Dale Minyo as he has an industry update from the National Association of Farm Broadcasting.
Joining me is Ben Runge with Bayer Crop Science. Ben, our topic for today is a complicated one for a lot of producers, carbon. What is Bayer's philosophy on how will we help producers understand today's carbon program?
That's a great question. So what we're here to do with the Bayer Carbon Program and the Foreground by Bayer platform is really connect growers to new opportunities within this emerging carbon market, space. There's a lot of opportunities to earn money, not just on what you're farming, but also how you're farming it now, which is really kind of the first time, we've ever really seen these kind of opportunities become available.
One of our farmers on a panel earlier in the program here at the NAFB conference talked about the value of radio for him is to spur new ideas. So in order to do that, what's the name of the program again?
The Foreground by Bayer platform, which houses the Bayer Carbon Program. The Foreground by Bayer platform is one that houses new revenue opportunities, of course, first and foremost, but also connections with agronomic support and resources, as well as discounts through industry partners that are available if you sign up for the Foreground platform.
I've been visiting with Ben Runge from Bayer Crop Science.
Thanks, Dale. And to hear the full interview again, visit our featured audio section at ohioagnet.com. Stay tuned. We'll be back to take a look at your markets after this.
Watch your step, Ohio. Winter weather is here, so let's keep your team from slipping on the job. Make sure to examine your work areas daily and clear hazards that could result in a potential fall. Hoses, cords, buckets, farm tools, and equipment can all pose a problem. As the days get darker, you'll want to replace any poor lighting, too. Keep walkways and entrance areas clear, dress for the weather, and stay safe and warm. This safety tip brought to you by the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation. Visit pwc.ohio.gov for more safety resources.
Get the equipment and trucks you need at Ritchie Brothers' next Great Lakes Regional event on December 11th and 12th. This absolute unreserved auction will feature online bidding, and items are located in Columbus, Chicago, and Detroit. Choose from close to 5,000 items, including a wide selection of construction equipment, truck tractors, and more. Don't miss Ritchie Brothers' Great Lakes Regional event on December 11th and 12th. For more details, visit rbauction.com. Again, that's rbauction.com.
It's time now for your morning Louis Dreyfus grain analysis, brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff. Let's check in with Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished out the Tuesday period on a positive note, but we were off of the highs a little bit. Closing prices at the end of the day had corn 1/4 to 1 higher, soybeans up anywhere from 4 to 6, and the wheat market put together about a 3 to 9 cent run, depending on which kind of wheat you were looking at. However, after the start to the day, we had double-digit gains in soybeans for a while. We just could not hold that. Looks like yesterday, one of the things that really kind of hamstringed the market a little bit were the currencies kind of faltered through the day. Brazilian real, others are definitely being talked about. The WASDE U.S. soy oil export estimate is being talked about as being too low, and the elephant in the room is South American weather once again. It seems like we're talking about that every day, but if we don't have major demand in here, there's not much else to talk about here. Let's talk about those currencies first. The Chinese yuan fell to 7.29 versus the U.S. dollar. Brazilian real 6.07. Egyptian pound to 50 to 1. Indian rupee 84 to 1. The Russian ruble is less than a penny at 106 to 1. All of that does set us up here to see better export demand go to other countries. They're just not seeing the buying power here that they're seeing in those countries versus what there is in the U.S. here. So that's probably the biggest issue in capping the rally yesterday. Now, as you take a look at the soy oil scenario, one could statistically argue for about 2.3 to 2.5 billion pounds of soy oil exports in 24-25, but we're just not looking at that hitting the balance sheet in the correct way, and that was something that really kind of kept the soy complex from exploding to the upside either. Not really other export demand to talk about. No flash reported sales, and we're going to have to wait till weekly export sales numbers probably to see where the week is to this point in terms of adding up all these not so flash sales. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Taking a look now at your overnight markets, brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. December corn is trading down a quarter penny at $4.23. January soybeans down 6 1/4 at $9.85 1/2 cents. And wheat for December trading up 2 1/4 cents, $5.39. Thanks for joining us and have a great day, everyone. You're listening to the Ohio AgNet.